All right, I think we can get started. Everyone, thanks for joining. My name is Marco Calmasini. I'm one of the program manager in the Oracle Database Backup and Recovery team. My colleagues Alex Goldbalt and Kelly Smith are here with me. The topic for today, office hours, is Oracle Secure Backup 19.1, which is the new version that will be released next week. And it's a new version that focuses on OCI, if you want. There are a couple of interesting features that I will talk about, specifically for optimizing, simplifying, backup and recovery in OCI. So let's get started. For those that don't know what Oracle Secure Backup is, let me turn on my video so we can see. Okay. For those who don't know what Oracle Secure Backup is, it's a backup software, kind of a traditional architecture from a product perspective. It has an admin server where the actual product brain is, right? And you schedule the catalog database, etc. It can be managed through CLI or through a web tool or through Enterprise Manager. It can back up, heterogeneous file system run different type of operating systems. It can back up the Oracle database and MySQL databases. And it can manage different types of media, from disk to tape to OCI. Specifically for OCI, it has integration with object storage. It supports any type of object storage tier, archiving, frequent access, and standard. Obviously, it's a license per stream, so it's very also easy and simple to understand what the licensing is. There's no particular modules, features based on what you want to backup, etc. It's just based on the number of streams that you want to use, that you have to use. So some of those components, or not all of those components, are needed when we look at the OCI public cloud. Specifically, those with the red box around are the components that are used and deployed in OCI, or obviously used in OCI and also in hybrid environments. You can deploy the admin server and protect certain clients in OCI, but also have media servers and different type of media devices on premises, for example, and you can control the whole environment this way. So let's talk about OCI specifically. What type of options, or what options are there when you want to protect your data in OCI? Well, for the database services, we are quite well covered, right? For the base database service, or the autonomous database, or the Exadata database service, there is the zero data loss autonomous recovery service, which is the first option, I would say, and the recommended option. It's an OCI service based on the recovery appliance features. It has the same features as the on-premises recovery appliance, right? Like continuous protection, so real-time redo transport in order to achieve zero data loss, or continuous protection of your database, incremental forever to reduce the impact of backups on production servers, etc. And also you have, in case the old way of using object storage and database backup service. Those are, I would say, the ZRCV, the recovery service, is the recommended way to protect Oracle databases in OCI. But normally when customers move workload to OCI, they don't have only database servers. There are application servers usually running on compute instances. In that case, the data protection service or capabilities in OCI are based on the block volume service. So you can schedule snapshot-based backups, so image level backups of compute instances volumes that are sent to object storage. This is not centralized. It can be scheduled, but it must be managed individually on each compute instance. Then we have the VMs, the virtual machines, and the Oracle Homes for the Exadata Cloud service. or for the base database service as well. In that case, there may not be a stringent need for protecting those systems. You can always redeploy a new XSCS, for example, or restore a database running on it. But in case you have certain specific customization or the needs of protecting or backing up those file systems, there's no native way for doing it. You could deploy an Oracle Secure Backup agent on them if you want. The other thing I want to mention is file share services, which is a NAS-like service in OCI. In that case, also there is a snapshot-based backup that can be run and configured. Those are snapshots running on the same storage that is used by the service itself. So it's not, and when you recover, you can recover the whole share only, so you can recover a single file. So for all these different environments, one option is to use Oracle Secure Backup. It can be deployed from the OCI marketplace. Again, it's not a native service, so it must be deployed and configured, and it will run. The admin server will run into a compute instance. But the deployment is quite easy. Again, from the OCI marketplace, you can search Secure Backup, you deploy it, and it's the whole admin server and compute instance are deployed automatically. It comes with Ansible scripts that can be used to also deploy agents to the different clients, and obviously it can help, as I was saying, protecting workloads running on compute instances. It can help. It can back up file shared services, shares mounted on compute instances. It can also protect SQL, Microsoft SQL, MySQL databases, and through media servers, you can control, again, object storage or disk pool as well. And if you want to back up to disk pool, you can also schedule or configure automatic tiering so that data are copied or moved to object storage after a certain period of time. It is currently used by a large number of customers. Oracle Managed Cloud Services, which is the OCI managed services organization, is using Oracle Secure Backup to protect the workloads I was talking about, so applications, compute servers, and file share services, etc. For more than 300 tenancies. This number are higher now. This was for a few months ago, but more than 300 tenancies, 6,500 clients, mostly Linux, but also Windows. It's a good chunk of it. They have 6,500 full backups running during the weekend, 39,000 incremental backups running on weekdays every day. They consume around 10 petabytes of storage in object storage buckets, and they do more or less 10 restore per month. Likely not enough, but when they are needed, customers can perform restore of single files that they need back from their compute instances. So that said, what is new? What's coming with this new version 19.1 that again will be released next week? Well, there are two features that are extremely needed, requested by many of those customers I was talking about that are running in OCI already. One is support for immutable backups for compliance or for ransomware protection. So you can configure cloud storage devices, so OSB devices as backup users, backup targets that are running on object storage buckets that have retention rules on them. With retention rules, then the backup becomes immutable for a certain period of time. No one can delete or overwrite or alter or maliciously encrypt those backups, who, by the way, are already encrypted. So even if someone downloads or get access to the bucket and download the content of the bucket, they will not be able to do a restore. But more important than that is that they cannot be deleted or altered in any way. So that's the first one. The second one is the ability to send backups directly from clients to the bucket, what we call client direct to cloud. It's a feature that basically removes the media server requirement from the whole environment. This will make this will improve performance of the backups because each client will, for backups or restore, get or have access directly to the bucket without the need of going through a media server, and it will, simplify the environment, simplify management, and reduce the cost as well because media server are not needed anymore. So no additional compute instance costs are, added to the bill if you want because of this. So let's look at this a little more in detail. So what I was talking about is exactly this. Clients can send backups directly to the OCI buckets without the need to go through a media server. So there's no media server in the path. It uses pre-authenticated requests. It's all managed transparently. It must be enabled. This feature must be enabled both at the client and the cloud storage, at the cloud storage device configuration. It can be done through the web tool. It can be done through the CLI. The CLI, like example of the CLI commands are listed here, but it's very simple. And when you create a new device in that is cloud storage device in OCI, in OSB, the actual OSB device, you just add the client direct yes -- client direct yes option, and that will enable direct access from the client to that specific device. At the same time, when you add or modify an existing client in your environment, you also have to add the -- client direct yes option so that that client is configured to access directly the storage device and without going through a media server. It's just a very simple configuration or two configuration steps to take, and and that can be implemented in even on existing environments once you upgrade to 19.1. The other thing that is quite relevant, especially with all the ransomware protection needs that are coming up when talking about data protection with customers every day, it's the ability to use retention rules on the bucket to make them immutable. Again, it's very simple. It can be enabled through the web tool or through the CLI command examples I put here. mkdev is the command used to create a new storage device in OSB, and you specify -- compliance rules and the retention time that you want, and that is the time during which the content of the bucket becomes immutable. And you can specify the time that you want, 30 days, 6 months. It depends if it's, for ransomware protection, maybe you have a shorter protection need, but if it's for compliance, you may need to protect your data for longer, 1 year, 5 years, or whatever. You specify the retention that you want. There is an option to lock the rule. Lock the rule means that the rule itself become locked, become immutable if you want. There is a grace period of 14 days. After those 14 days, no one can delete the rule from the bucket anymore. No one can reduce the retention of the rule. It can only be extended at that point. When I say no one, means not even a tenancy administrator can go in and make changes. So, and that's also the reason why there is this 14 days grace period, because you can change your mind and maybe shorten the rule or maybe delete the rule altogether and do it in a different way. This is important because when it's locked, it means that everything you put in the bucket will remain in the bucket for the retention it was configured. If it was 1 year, you cannot delete the content of the bucket for 1 year. And it also means that the bucket itself cannot be deleted, obviously. You have to wait 1 year and don't put anything else in the bucket. And after 1 year, you will be able to delete the content and delete the bucket. So it must be used carefully. The other option that we have, and this is specific for compliance reasons, is legal hold. You can add the legal hold to a bucket, and it means that basically the content of the bucket becomes immutable until the legal hold is removed. And it's obviously for legal hold purposes, for compliance reasons. These things that I described are how the retention rules work in OCI. So you, in theory, you could go on your OCI console, find the bucket you're using, and add compliance rules and make the same thing that I described, configure the same thing that I described directly on the bucket. It would work, but OSB would not be able to manage those rules anymore. So we recommend to use directly the OSB, again, CLI or web tool to make these configurations. So if you want to change at a later time, you can also do it through OSB. Otherwise, it would become kind of transparent for OSB, and they would not be able to do it. This also means that there are some privileges that need to be assigned to the OSB user that is granted access to the buckets, like bucket update and retention rule manage and retention rule lock, because otherwise you would not be able to do it. Okay. What's coming after this? So again, this will be released next week. After this, we are looking at providing even better integration with OCI services. We have two interesting things coming up. One is the integration with the block volume service. It means that the thing that I described before when I talked about what options are there, you can schedule and manage block volume backups to object storage through the OCI console. These capabilities will be controlled by OSB, so that can be centrally orchestrated by OSB. That will call the block storage service, create a snapshot, send a snapshot to object storage, etc. But the other thing that will provide is the ability to collect the metadata from the file system configured in the block volumes, and orchestrate the restore of single files. So through the metadata we collect, you will be able to do search or to browse the file system at the time the backup was taken, identify what you want to restore. You can also choose a single file or a single directory, initiate the restore of that, and again OSB will orchestrate the restore of the whole volume, because the backup itself will remain an image level backup managed by the block storage service. But OSB will initiate the restore of the block volume that contains the version of the file that you want to restore, attach it to an OSB client, extract the file you want to restore, put the file on the target client where you want to restore to go. And that will, again, simplify the management, add the additional capability of providing a single file restore granularity, and yeah, simplify the whole operations. The other thing is similar that we are looking at for OCVS, which is the VMware service running in OCI, and the plan is to provide a direct integration with the VMware snapshot capabilities and backup and restore of VMware objects or disks. Okay. What resources do we have available? So the OSB page on oracle.com will be updated as soon as it's released next week. If you go there now, you will still see the 18.1 old version. Similarly for documentation, if we go to the documentation page, you will only find 18.1 right now, but it will be updated. And data sheets, device support matrices, platform support matrices will also all be published on the OSB webpage on oracle.com. We will also publish an updated marketplace image for 19.1, And so that when it's released, you can deploy it if it's a new deployment, and start using OSB 19.1, right there. If you already have an image deployed, you get to download 19.1 and upgrade the existing image. Okay. I think that's all for today. I don't know if there are any questions, either specifically on what I just talked about or in general around, database backup service, zero loss recovery service, zero loss recovery appliance, whatever, right? Feel free to ask through the chat or through the Q&A, and I or Kelly or Alex will try to answer. Otherwise, we'll wait a few moments, and then we'll wish you a happy weekend. Kelly or Alex, did you see any question popping up?
No, I didn't see any questions.
Okay, sounds good then. 10 seconds. If there are no questions, I'll close the webinar, and again, see you next month. Okay.